and good day. Welcome to my session, The Director's Guide to Free Resources for Preschool English Learners. Hopefully this is a session that you are planning to be at right now. My name is Tammy King, and I work for the Center Early Childhood Professional Learning. You're going to be watching this session at the beginning of October as part of the bilingual directors meeting. I just want to point out that I am actually recording this at the very end of September. So it is, in a sense, I'm doing this a little bit in the future, but that little tidbit is relevant to some of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you later on today. So I just wanted to mention that to you now. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself to you very briefly. As I mentioned, my name is Tammy King, and I work at Early Childhood Professional Learning. We are a sister department of the Illinois Resource Center. In fact, some of you may be thinking, gosh, she looks or sounds familiar. I did work for 12 years at the Illinois Resource Center, providing professional development on all things English language learners from kindergarten to 12th grade and occasionally preschool. But 4 years ago now, I switched departments. Literally, we share a wall with the IRC at the office, but I switched departments to Early Childhood Professional Learning. And so my department, ECPL, we are funded by the State Board of Education to provide free training across the state of Illinois to anyone that is providing Preschool for All or Preschool for All expansion programs to children here in Illinois. So PFA and PFAE, if you're new to those acronyms, basically are shorthand for state-funded preschool programs here in the state of Illinois. So our office provides training on everything related to PFA and PFAE. So you can think in a sense of the state standards of the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards are very much our guide in terms of the trainings that we provide on anything and everything that's encompassed within those standards. And of course, two of those, goals 28, 29, deal with English language learners and home language development. So it's under that umbrella that I'm providing this information for you today. I was brought to this department because of my expertise with regards to English language learners, or if you prefer the term multilingual learners, which you will hear me say as well today, as well as dual language learners. Just to provide a tiny bit of clarity on that, since I know most of the people listening today think when they hear dual language learners, they think of dual language programming. Here's lesson number one about early childhood education here in Illinois. When they say dual language learners in the early childhood field, they're actually meaning multilingual learners or English learners. DLLs is actually a national term that's used as an alternative to English learners or multilingual learners. Dual language learners are not in dual language programs usually. It's just a term to describe the children, not the programming that they are receiving. So just know I might use those terms interchangeably in our session here today, but we're still talking about children, young children who are growing up, learning and exposed to more than just English in their childhood. So I'm going to be sharing with you a number of free resources, and hopefully you'll find this information useful and beneficial to you. So here we go. Apologies, let's get that. See if I can get my slide to advance for you here. There we go. All right, so fantastic. All right, so often I get this question when I'm providing trainings out in the field or via email. There's so many resources out there. Where do we begin? How do these different things go together? Help, Tammy, what do we do, right? So that's really the guiding question that I hope to answer in this session with you today. So let me share with you first, I'm going to give you kind of an overarching framework, if you will, to think about these various resources that are available to you here in the state of Illinois. And then we'll go into some detail about those different resources and learning opportunities. Please keep in mind, and I will mention it a couple of times, everything I am about to share with you is free. All of it. It's all free. Okay, so do keep that in mind. It's all free and available to you and to your staff members. Some of it is on demand, others are live, and we'll get into that in just a moment. All right. So first and foremost, the very first thing that I need you to do for me today is to bookmark this web page. You see it on the screen in front of you on this little laptop. It starts with HTTPS and ends with the word years. If you would please go to that web address and bookmark it. The easiest way might be for you to do that is to scan this QR code on the right-hand side of your screen that's got that little dinosaur in it. Most devices that have a camera on it, when you scan that QR code, will take you or give you a chance to go directly to that link. And when you get there, you're going to look at a web page that looks pretty much exactly like what you see on the screen right now. Please bookmark that web page, because this is going to be your one-stop shop going forward for all free resources around preschool English learners in the state of Illinois. So I'll give you a moment right now to do that. And of course, since this is a recording, you can hit pause at any point in time, come back, do this, whatever you would like to do. So, all right. Very, 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 very good. This, I should say, is a page on our office's website. You'll notice here it says Early Childhood Professional Learning on the left-hand side, and then there's a navigation bar here. But this is the page that's dedicated to English language learners, to preschool English learners, as you can see here on this blue box. I am the person that is primarily, more or less entirely, responsible for the content that's on this page. I'm not the one who actually puts it on the webpage. I don't have that skill set, but I am the one that does provide the content for it. So do know that that's where that is coming from. I'm going to share with you the details of what's on this webpage for the remainder of this session, in fact. All right, here we go. So here's what I wanted to share with you. ECPL, my department, Early Childhood Professional Learning, is leveraging its partnerships with both local and national organizations and PD providers in order to bring you free professional development that's relevant and that's hopefully right what you need right when you and your staff need it. So again, you want to bookmark this page so that you can get access to and register for in a timely manner some of the live webinars that are coming up and get access to the on-demand professional development as well. I also wanted to just let you know that most of what I'm about to share with you will provide you with ISBE credit, should you or your staff members want that, and or Gateways credit. If you're not familiar with what Gateways is, don't worry, your preschool staff very much are familiar with what Gateways credit is, and they will be happy to hear that they can get Gateways credit for those that want that. There also, you see IPA's logo on here as well. I'm going to tell you about a free online administrator academy that I will be doing later on this school year, again, that you can get credit for as an administrator as well. So lots of different opportunities for you to earn, you and your staff members to earn free credit. So again, this is going to be some partnerships you're going to see represented here as we go through this session that represent Early Childhood Professional Learning, WIDA Early Years, Illinois State Board of Education, and Illinois Principals Association. The website that I shared with you already and asked you to bookmark has 4 sections to it. One of the sections is dedicated to live webinar information. The next section, as you scroll down the screen, will have information on that live online administrator academy that I just mentioned to you. Then you'll get into a section on downloadable resources, and actually first on-demand courses and then downloadable resources. You'll see the little circles here in the middle of well, my big four pie chart here. What this is meant to represent is that there are multiple entry points to these resources. So you could dive in first via the live webinars or the on-demand courses, or maybe first you want to go take a look at one of these downloadable resources. You could start, if you so choose, with the Online Administrator Academy. I would recommend not doing that because it's not till February, and hopefully these resources could be of use to you long before February. But if you wanted to, and depending on your calendar this year, maybe that's the place that you start. And I would certainly understand that in this world that we're living in right now. But please know, you can jump in and jump out at any point in these different options that you have available to you here on the screen. We want to provide you with resources in all 4 of these different areas, as we are continuing to get feedback from the field that sometimes it's live webinars is what we need. Sometimes it's on-demand courses, and sometimes it's just a quick downloadable resource that I need to pull off the web. We want to provide you with the content that you need, again, right when you need it and right where you know how to find it. So with that being said, let me tell you about some of the things that are up on this webpage. First, in the live webinar section, which as you scroll down the page, that will be the first section on that web page, There are going to be some sessions that are coming up in the middle of October. The first one is Intro to Making Connections, language-focused approach to planning equitable language opportunities. These are going to be 2 live webinars. You only need to attend one. They will be repeats of each other. And if for some reason you cannot make either of those live webinars, much of the same content is available in an on-demand option as well. More about the on-demand stuff in a bit. Also, we will be having 3 sessions. I'm really excited about this as well. 3 Promising Practices webinars that are going to be dedicated to the Promising Practices Implementation Kit. Those are going to be taking place, one in October, a repeat in January, and then a repeat in April. So again, you only need to attend one if you're able to do so, because the content will then be repeated again in January and in April. If for some reason none of those meet your schedule's needs or those of your staff members, there is also an on-demand option for this content as well. The on-demand and live content is not identical, but is, so you certainly could absolutely do both of them if you wanted to do that. But if you're only able to make one, that would be fine as well for you to access the content. Then we have supporting young English learners, social emotional development in culturally appropriate ways. In this particular session, I am going to be conducting it. We're going to be exploring and bringing together 2 frameworks, the pyramid model for social emotional competence and West Ed's Bridging Cultures framework. After looking at each of these frameworks separately, we're going to use them to guide our analysis of some free online social emotional learning resources. We're going to brainstorm together some practical steps and ideas for implementing culturally appropriate practices that will help also enhance your children's social emotional development. That session is only offered once each year, and I'll be doing it this year on November 30th, starting at 4 p.m. It is a free webinar, but you do have to register ahead of time. All right, then will be my session called Unleash Their Play by tapping into children's home cultures. This session is going to be in February, again, starting at 4 p.m. You must register ahead of time. And here's the little description I wrote up for this one. Children are more likely to engage in high levels of play when they're immersed, pardon me, in an engaging environment. What better way to engage children in play than to recreate aspects of their home cultures and home life and home languages in the dramatic play area? So we're going to spend some time in this session reflecting on students' home languages, home cultures in light of your current teaching practices. You will leave this 90-minute session with actual action steps for creating more culturally relevant dramatic play interest areas or centers in your preschool classroom. I should mention that all of these sessions that I've shared with you thus far and going forward are not just appropriate for preschool, but also kindergarten, possibly even 1st or 2nd grade teachers as well. So please do share this information with your early childhood staff. The last piece that you see on the screen here in front of you, how do children develop languages? Implications for educators in diverse settings. This is also a one-time only session that's going to be offered on February 3rd, again, starting at 4 p.m. All of our sessions through ECPL always start at 4 p.m. because that's, over the years, that's the information we have received and the feedback we have received from those we serve, that's the best time of day for them to be able to attend sessions. They are always online as well. So again, that'll start at 4 p.m. This particular session is part of what's called the Sharing a Vision Equity Symposium that we are very excited to be a sponsor of this year. And so this Sharing a Vision Equity Symposium session about how children develop languages is going to be presented by 2 professors from Texas, Dr. Ileana Alanis and Dr. Maria Arreguin. I've heard both of them speak on several occasions, and I'm very excited to have them be presenting for us here in Illinois, well, at least virtually here in Illinois, on this particular topic. So please do join us for that session as well. Again, completely free. You can attend as many of the Equity Symposium sessions as you would like. This is actually the last in that series. The very first in the Equity series will be in October as part of the Sharing a Vision conference. And then there'll be sessions every 4 to 6 weeks or so on different early childhood topics. And then again, ending with this one on multilingual learners in February. So please do register for that via that website I shared with you earlier. It's going to be a great session. I will be there in attendance myself. All right, so those are the live webinars that we have coming up so far on the docket this school year. All of the registration is open. All registration is open for all of these sessions right now. So if you would like, you could potentially pause this session and go sign up for what looks good for you right now, and then come on back. I'll still be here. All right, next. Live Online Administrator Academy. We're always looking for administrator academies, right? For those of us that have our administrator certificate. So here's the one that I offer every spring or winter, depending on your perspective. This year it's going to be February 23rd. I like to think as the very early part of spring, maybe. And this session is called Cultural and Linguistic Diversity in Early Childhood Education. It is Admin Academy number 1925, and it is done in collaboration with the Illinois Principals Association. It's completely free, and because of that, always fills up very quickly every year. In fact, I believe last year it was full by the end of October. So if that's something of interest to you, I highly recommend you get on IPA's website and register. If you want the shortcut to find it, again, go to that webpage I told you to bookmark earlier, scroll down, look for the Online Administrator Academy, click the link, and it'll take you right to the part of IPA's page where you can register for that session. All right. Good, very good, very good. And I should mention to you here that I do have my notes down here to the side. So if you see me looking down, that's why. I just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything that I wanted to share with you today. Oh, in fact, speaking of which, one of the things I did want to mention that as a result of attending this Online Administrator Academy, assuming you complete all of the requirements from the Illinois Principals Association, you would, of course, receive Admin Academy credit. But part of that will actually be creating an action plan with clear steps to help move your early childhood program forward with regards to equity and cultural and linguistic diversity in that preschool program. So if that sounds interesting to you, again, sign up for that session sooner rather than later. All right. All right, now let me get into this part of our session here. We're going to spend a good amount of time, actually a very good amount of time on this chunk of information. Many of you, so don't worry too much about this at the moment. First, just listen. Let me tell you a little bit about our partnership with WIDA Early Years. Those of you at this listening to the session are bilingual, by and large, bilingual directors. So you're familiar with the fact that Illinois has been a WIDA Early Years state for kindergarten and up since February 2004. Yeah, I believe it was 2004, February 2005. So years. We were one of the first states that was part of the kindergarten and up K-12 consortium, right? But it's only been 3 years since Illinois joined as a WIDA Early Years member state. So that means there's essentially a separate department in WIDA that's dedicated to early childhood, and they call it the Early Years Department. And so my office, Early Childhood Professional Learning, serves as the department that operationalizes that relationship with WIDA Early Years. So everything comes through Early Childhood Professional Learning for Illinois with regards to WIDA Early Years. So therefore, you'll often find my name associated with a lot of that information here in the state of Illinois. And again, that's because we're the ones operationalizing that, but the funding is coming from the Illinois State Board of Education. We are quite grateful for that funding to be able to provide that partnership for you for what will now be our 3rd year partnering with WIDA Early Years. So what I have found in the first 2 years of our partnership is that many folks are starting with some of the live webinars that we offer, specifically the webinars that I have just described to you. They start with some of those live sessions and then move into the on-demand online content from WIDA Early Years. And so that's what I wanted to show you next. What you're looking at here is a sample learning pathway of how you or your staff may choose to move through the various resources that we have available to us here in the state of Illinois. You may again start with some of the ECPL live webinars and then move into some of this here. You'll notice that it starts down here in the corner with the e-learning online modules and then moves through some of the other pieces. Let me tell you a little bit more about these e-learning online modules. If you don't mind, let's take a closer look at that screenshot. So we have available to us as part of our partnership with WIDA, 6 online on-demand early learning or early years modules. So you'll see here, they're listed, the dual language learners and their families. This is often where I suggest that folks start if they haven't yet done one of these on-demand resources. Each one of these boxes that you see on the screen right now, each one of these, what WIDA calls courses, you might want to think more of as a module. Don't think college course, but it is a course with a small c. And I say that because each one of these online on-demand courses takes about roughly 1 hour to complete. They are self-paced, so you could take a little more, a little less than that if you so chose, but they are designed to take roughly 1 hour to complete each one of these courses. They are completely free. Upon completion of each one of these modules, you are able to and entitled to receive Gateways credit or ISBE credit, or both if you want both. That's certainly fine as well. You'll see we have dual language learners and their families. This explores the strengths and resources that dual language learners and their families bring to early childhood programs. Another module is dedicated to children, English learners with disabilities. So again, this course provides essential information about supporting the needs of dual language learners with disabilities. Making connections. We're going to talk more about this in a little bit, but this on-demand module focuses on the new Making Connections document. Oh, pardon me. The new Making Connections document that contains tools and resources that can be used to plan instruction for young multilingual children. Now you noticed here in this first row that WIDA has used two terms, both dual language learners and multilingual children. I just want to highlight real briefly and clarify that those terms mean the same. They're two terms for the exact same kids. One of the first lessons I learned when I moved from Illinois Resource Center to early childhood professional learning was that the term dual language learner means something very specific in the early childhood world. That is, dual language learner is a national term that's used by NACCE, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, as well as Head Start and some other national organizations. And it means the same thing as English learners or multilingual learners. So to clarify, dual language learners has absolutely nothing to do with dual language programs, okay? Dual language learners are children, young children who are growing up learning more than just English at home and in early care and education settings. So I just want to clarify that for you. Dual language learners does not, absolutely does not have anything to do with dual language programming per se. All right. Language scaffolding, scaffolding language learning. This module explores ways for kids to scaffold language learning, children's language learning and development. Promising practices. This is another module that illustrates examples of how to implement the WIDA early years essential actions. This also has a toolkit that goes along with it as well. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. So we have a couple different toolkits we have access to. And then we have Are We Ready? I love this particular resource because it focuses on the transition from preschool into kindergarten. So this is a great resource. I know of a number of different programs and districts that have actually had, during the pandemic, had their preschool teachers and their kindergarten and first grade teachers watch this recorded webinar and read through the downloadable companion guide that goes along with it. And then they've come together for an online learning session, or maybe now you could do it in person, to discuss from their unique perspectives as a preschool staff member or as a kindergarten or first grade staff member, their unique perspectives on that transition from preschool into kindergarten. So that might be something that you want to consider doing with that particular resource. Again, all of these are available on demand, 7 days a week, 365. You can access any or all of these at your convenience. I will be submitting this particular document. It's a 2-page document as a handout, so I hope you'll be able to access it through the platform for this particular conference. If not, do know that this handout is also linked on that webpage, the ECPL webpage that I told you about at the beginning of the session, so you can access it there as well. All right, so that gives you the details about the various e-learning modules that you see pictured down in the bottom left corner of your screen. Now, after your staff members engage or you engage with some of these or all of these online learning modules, oh, pardon me, before I forget, let me mention one more thing about credit for these sessions. All of these online learning modules have been available to us, or almost all of them have been available to us via a different learning management system. But as of October 1st, So again, I'm recording this session at the end of September, but you're going to be watching it at the beginning of October. So in between the time that I'm recording this and saying what I'm saying to you right now and the time you actually watch this, these modules are shifting to a new learning management system called Canvas. And so again, many of you as bilingual program directors are aware that WIDA has already shifted the kindergarten to 12th grade online learning or e-learning from WIDA has already shifted to Canvas. Well, Early Years is making that shift on October 1st. So at the time you're watching this, that shift will have already happened. But as of right now, I'm not able to show you screenshots of what that's going to look because frankly, it's in my future. That's all going to happen. So, but what will happen is when you complete one of these modules or your staff members completes a module, it will be recorded in that new Canvas system as being completed. Then our office at ECPL, one of my coworkers at the end of each month will be downloading information about each person that has completed a module each month. That person, all those people that have completed a module that will then receive an email from our office with a link that tells them to complete an online survey through SurveyMonkey. And that online survey is the typical ISB survey that we're all used to filling out at the end of professional development. And when they have completed that online survey, they will be asked if they want ISB credit and or Gateways credit. If they do, they'll complete the appropriate information for that as well. And at the very end of the survey, it will generate the ISB certificate that we all know and love that they can then download and print to prove that they have completed that particular course. Now, with that information about Gateways, if they wanted Gateways information, they will have submitted that information. And then our office, again, will log into the Gateway system and input that information into the Gateway system. So we just ask, as we move into this new system, it's a little bit different than what it's been in the past. We ask for your patience as we work through the kinks of doing this in a new way. And it will take us some time from the time that we receive the information from you that you want to receive Gateways credit to the time that it actually appears in the Gateways system. So I would say if 2 or more months have passed from the time that you have completed the online module and it's still not showing up in Gateways, then please do contact our office and we'll be able to look into that for you and see why it has not yet shown up in Gateways. All right. So again, that kind of rounds out the information on the WIDA e-learning on demand modules. What often happens is folks, again, start with those modules from WIDA, and as they go through, they realize that they want to go a little bit deeper in certain areas. And so then they may move into some of these downloadable resources. So you see up here at the top right corner of the screen, there's a screenshot of the focus bulletin that focuses on promoting equity for young multilingual children and their families. This particular focus bulletin has a number of reflective questions in it that could be used to guide discussions and conversations around improving programs with regards to equity for young multilingual children. Also, this particular person, the sample pathway that we're showing with you, they also moved into looking a little bit deeper at the Promising Practices Toolkit. As I mentioned to you earlier, there will be some live webinars throughout this school year dedicated to digging deep on the Promising Practices Toolkit. But if those dates don't work for you, that's all right. There is the opportunity to access most of the same information via the on-demand webinar on Promising Practices, as well as actually download the kit itself as well. So again, there's 2 different pathways for you to get this content. And if you'd like, you can absolutely do both of them because the live one will give you the opportunity to ask some questions. And it will not be identical content between the 2, but there will be quite a bit that overlaps between them. All right, so from there, maybe you choose to explore a little bit further and look at the new Making Connections document. We had a different version of this document the last 2 years, but this is the brand new one that came out several weeks ago, actually not very long ago. I believe it was the end of August. And this Making Connections document focuses on, and in a sense, it's kind of a crosswalk really, or a kind of a combination of using the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards alongside the WIDA Early Years resources, and then also talks about the WIDA Early Years standards as well, English and Spanish. And again, this particular resource exists already. You're able to access it through the e-learning on demand modules. But also, if you'd like, you could attend one of the upcoming live webinars in October to dive a little bit deeper. I don't know about you, but in this pandemic, I have found that I do a much better job of checking the boxes and completing things in my to-do list when I have a live webinar to attend, as opposed to an on-demand thing that I just, keep kicking down the road, keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but yet somehow I am not able to sometimes find and carve out that time on my schedule. So personally, I have found that live webinars are a great way to make sure I get something done, right? So please feel free to avail yourself of both of those options again, if you would like to do that. The live webinars in October, you only have to choose one, and or the e-learning modules as well to access that content. And then finally, down in the right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see information about Look What I Can Do. Look What I Can Do is yet another toolkit of different resources from WIDA early years that I think you're going to be really excited to see. In fact, here's mine. I downloaded it, printed it off. It's about 60 pages. Some of them are already, some of the different tools in here are already translated into 4 different languages for use with family members of early childhood students. So the materials are those that are to be used with families have been already translated into simplified Chinese, Arabic, English, and then Spanish as well. So I think this is going to be a really, really cool resource for us here in Illinois. There's language portraits, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here that I think you're going to like. And if you're not aware, you notice there's a little asterisk that says available for the duration of the pilot study. You can log on right now and download the entire toolkit to your computer, print it out, use it. But there's a possibility that it might change a little bit in the future. We are one of 3 states that's lucky enough to pilot this Look What I Can Do toolkit. And because of that, that means we have access to it this school year. We are, again, only one of 3 states of all the WIDA earlier states that has access to Look What I Can Do. So after the Look What I Can Do pilot study ends, and what that means is we actually have 3 teachers across the state of Illinois that are piloting these materials right now and piloting the training that goes along with it. As the result of that pilot study, there may be some tweaks a little bit to some of the tools or some of the training that goes along with it. So we just added that little asterisk that it may change a little bit after the end of the pilot study. So if you want it to download it in its form right now, then that's something that you would want to do before the end of this school year and access that module, because again, it may change a little bit after the pilot study ends. All right, so this is just one of many ways that your staff and you may choose to move through these WIDA early years resources, but I wanted to present you with one possibility and highlight for you, again, that information. So we've already talked about this particular screen here. Let me show you the second page of this handout. We've already discussed in detail the different modules, but let me tell you a little bit more. Again, as I said, free, about 1 hour per self-paced, and then there's the Gateways credit. But the second page of this handout, which again, hopefully you'll be able to access through the platform that this recording has been posted on. If not, you can get to it through our webpage that I told you about at the beginning of this session. What you will do is you and your staff members to be able to get access to all of these modules. Can't use your old login anymore. It doesn't work. As of October 1st, you've got to create a new account. If you already have your K-12 Canvas account through WIDA, you're going to be able to access the WIDA early years piece through that. So you would log in and you would access it that way. Unfortunately, again, I can't show you screenshots because that's in my future. We're going to do that. But if your folks are just are only preschool teachers, they do not work with kindergarten and up, they will be accessing it just from the WIDA early years side. I hope that makes sense. So your preschool staff are going to be accessing just WIDA early years content via the Canvas platform, and your folks and yourself included as a bilingual director can access both early years and K-12 if you're working in the K-12 program or supervising the K-12 program. So you would go through your K-12 login to access the WIDA early years materials and online training and such. So you'd start that whole process by scanning that QR code or clicking on that link. Don't do it on this screen. It's not going to work. It's not hyperlinked right here. But when you get the actual handout, it is hyperlinked on that handout there. Okay. You may be able to scan that QR code. It may not be high enough res for you to do it here, but again, you can do it from the handout when you get that. All right. Very, very good. So I hope this information proves to be relevant to you and hopefully is going to be useful for your staff members as well. Again, I just wanted to highlight for you that website that you want to go to bookmark all of this is going to be on our eclearningil.org webpage that we gave you at the very beginning of this recording. If you are not yet on our email list, I would highly recommend that you do that as well as an action item from this particular session. What you're going to want to do is go to the link that you see here at the top of the page, eclearningil.org, scroll about like 2/3 of the way down. On the right-hand side, there's going to be a little bar, little field that says type your email address in there, and then click the blue join button. And that will get you on our email address. We're not going to sell your information to anybody or anything like that, but it will assure that you get our constant contact messages that come out, roughly about twice a month, generally speaking. Some of those messages are dedicated specifically to our resources related to multilingual learners. Other messages will tell you about all of the other early childhood trainings that we offer through our office. Again, everything is free. And then that's information that you can push on to your staff members, or encourage your preschool teachers to sign up for that newsletter as well, if they haven't yet done so. If you're into social media, please feel free to follow us on Facebook at Early Childhood Professional Learning, all spelled out. On Twitter at EC_Center, and Instagram at ECLearningIL. You can reach out or connect to us on any or all of those various social media platforms. And with that, I want to give you a big thank you. I hope all is going well with you. I wish I could see your smiling faces on this session today, but it's enough to know that you are there and you're watching this and getting this information. Again, please go on the website. We will keep it up to date. So that means as those live webinars and live trainings occur, we will pull that information off. And as new things become available, we will put it up on that website as well. We'll also push information out via our Constant Contact newsletter. So again, just a little reminder to subscribe to that. So we look forward to interacting with you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you on some of my live webinars that are coming up this school year. And again, please share this information far and wide to anybody that would want this information here in Illinois with regards to preschool learners or preschool multilingual learners. Stay healthy, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.